A woman stands in front of a green field with trees and mountains in the background. Text: Lisa Belcastro, adapted physical education teacher, volunteer, and advocate.
Hey there, my name is Lisa Belcastro, and I'm so excited to share with you some inexpensive ways to make sports more accessible to athletes with disabilities. For over a decade, I have been working in the disability sport community as an adapted physical education teacher, volunteer, and advocate. Like many who run disability sport programs, funding is often limited. Even on a shoestring budget, we must find creative ways to accommodate the needs of every athlete in our program. No one deserves to be left on the sidelines, and we're here to make sure that never happens.
A title montage depicts modification of equipment. Text: D.I.Y. Adapted Sports Equipment with Lisa Belcastro. A project by the U.S. Department of State Global Sports Mentoring Program. A graphic of a U.S. flag, emblems of Department of State United States of America and Sports Diplomacy U.S. Department of State, and the logo for the University of Tennessee Knoxville Center for Sports, Peace and Society.
Today, we are going to be talking about archery. This is one of my favorite sports to teach the athletes that I work with. This is because there are many adaptations that can be made to increase independence and make the sport more accessible to all of our athletes. When teaching archery, what would you do if one of your athletes struggled with gross or fine motor control? What could you do to make the sport more accessible to those with developmental disabilities? With some out-of-the-box thinking and creativity, we are going to look at inexpensive ways to answer both of those questions. Today, we will be building an adapted PVC archery bow and arrow. This idea came to me after realizing the difficulty of adapting archery for athletes with developmental disabilities. This PVC archery bow is very inexpensive, easy to build, and very durable. Most importantly, it will ensure all of your athletes can participate.
She stands in front of a barn. Text: The build. She stands inside against a wood-paneled wall with tools on a pegboard on the wall. She holds a PVC pipe.
Over the years, I found that I really enjoy working with PVC. PVC is incredibly durable, easy to work with, and best of all, it's really inexpensive. To build the PVC archery bow and arrow, here are the materials that you'll need. PVC pipe, mason line, duct tape, wooden dowel rod, and a pencil top eraser.
All items are displayed.
You will also need a couple of tools: a saw, permanent marker, measuring tape, and duct tape. When I built my first piece of equipment, I'd never even picked up a saw. You might be a master builder, or maybe you've never picked up a tool in your life. Regardless of your comfort level or experience, I want to assure you, there's nothing to be intimidated by.
Text: Step 1, cut. The PVC pipe is laid out on a table.
First thing we're going to do is we're going to measure 5 feet of our 1/2-inch PVC pipe.
She stretches out a measuring tape.
Mark it.
She marks it with a marker, then cuts it with a saw as it sticks off the edge of the table.
We're going to cut straight down from where we made our mark. You're going to need braided mason line. You're going to roll it out, and you're going to measure 4 feet.
She stretches the measuring tape next to the line.
Mark it and cut it. Next, you're going to tie 2 knots into your mason line at the very ends. It's a simple overhand knot, just once. We're going to saw a 1-inch slit on each of the ends of the PVC.
Text: Step 2, connect.
Next, we're going to take our 4-foot mason line, and we're going to slide the knot inside the slit that we just cut. You want to make sure that that knot sits on the inside of the PVC pipe. We're going to start to form our bow now. To do that, you're going to have to take 1 foot and step on the PVC pipe so that you bend it towards yourself. You're going to slide that second knot inside the PVC pipe, and that's going to give you your bow.
She holds up the bow, pulls the string, and puts it on the table.
Next, you're going to need duct tape. You're going to pull off 4 inches. Rip. And you're going to fold it in half so none of the sticky part is showing. Just like that. You're going to set it to the side. Next, you're going to pull off a 3-inch piece. Now you're going to rip this piece in half so that you have 2 smaller pieces.
Lengthwise.
You're going to go back to the piece that you folded in half, and at the top of the piece, you're going to center the thin 3-inch piece across the top, just like that, so it makes a T. Take that piece of tape and wrap it around your bow.
Wraps it around the center of the bow.
Now this is going to create a pocket. This is going to be where the arrow rests. So to do that, You're gonna slide that piece of tape up so that it does create a pocket. You're gonna take your second piece of 3-inch tape, and you're gonna repeat exactly what you did on the top. All right, next you're gonna set your bow to the side. We're gonna go ahead and make our arrow. You're gonna need 2 foot of dowel rod, the thickness of a pencil. You're gonna take an eraser topper, you're gonna place it on the top, and then you're gonna cut a small slit at the end of the dowel rod. That's gonna be your knocking point. Next, we're gonna go back to our bow. We're gonna put our arrow inside the pocket, and we're gonna knock our arrow up against the bowstring. And you wanna make sure that the arrow sits in a straight line inside the pocket. And now we're gonna pull off a 2-inch piece of tape. And you're gonna separate into thirds. You want small pieces for this.
Lengthwise.
Go back to your arrow, and underneath the arrow, we're gonna wrap one of our 2-inch pieces around and around and around. We're gonna repeat the same thing, just on top of the arrow. And that's it. Now your bow's ready to go. In archery, use the very tips of your pointer finger and middle finger to pull back on the bowstring. For my athletes with developmental disabilities, their instincts are to pull back with their whole hand on the bowstring. This makes releasing the arrow and accuracy very difficult. By having these 2 pieces of tape, it signals to the athletes where to put their 2 fingers.
Text: be sure to check out episode 4 on building an adapted archery stand.
You can see that the commercially purchased bow works well and puts a lot of force behind the arrow. However, it's expensive. A commercially purchased bow and arrow set can start at $130. Everything you see here, adaptations and all, costs only $4 to create. I told you that was gonna be easy. In just a few simple steps, we've created a piece of equipment that increases independence and accessibility. With all the benefits this adapted PVC bow brings, it can be built for just $4. Be sure to tag us on social media with your builds. Links to our social media accounts are available in the description. I'd like to thank the U.S. Department of State, especially the Sports Diplomacy Division, and the University of Tennessee Center for Sport, Peace, and Society. We hope this project design serves you and your athletes well. Thanks for watching.
Complete build guide available in the description. Faint background image with a filter. People in wheelchairs link arms and hold them up in celebratory fists and smile. D.I.Y adapted sports equipment. The letters move and come into and out of focus.